All right, Pops, I can hear Howard Cosell in my ear saying, down goes Ford, down goes Ford. I've got an interesting case, Dad, why 2023 may be the year that Ford is on its way towards its death blow. Am I being hyperbolic, Pops?
Not you, not Mr. Hyperbolic. No, heck, no, sure, Ford's on its deathbed. Everybody knows that. No, you are being hyperbolic. They may not make as much money as other manufacturers, but they ain't going anywhere at the moment.
All right, so we all know Ford is trying to push towards electric vehicles, and we recently had Tesla slash the prices of their vehicles. Well, Reuters, they pulled some interesting data together from all of these public companies' earnings reports. Dad, Tesla, in the third quarter of 2022, they made $15,653 in gross profit per vehicle sold. That's twice as much as Volkswagen, 4 times as much as Toyota, and 5 times as much as Ford. Now, Dad, at the same time, earlier in 2022, we had executives over at Ford saying things that led to headlines like this. Quote, Ford EV lineup not expected to be profitable until second generation. Ford has come out and said multiple times that they do not make money on either a gross or net basis on their EVs right now, but eventually, trust them, eventually they will. Pair this, Dad, with the most recalls in 2022, and I think you're putting together a pretty interesting case for why Ford needs to be taking a backseat to some of these other automakers who have maybe better business models.
It's not necessarily a better business model. You look at Tesla. They've been around, 10, 12 years, something like that. Ford's been around 110 or 112 years, something like that. The difference is Ford has huge obligations to their retired employees, pension plans, things of that nature that they're responsible for. That eats up a huge chunk of their profit per vehicle. They have to service those pension obligations. So that cuts into their profit. Tesla isn't confronted with that situation yet. I am sure there must be pension plans for their employees.
I don't know if I'd be so sure about that, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, well, they've only been around for 10 or 12 years, so ain't anybody taking advantage of those pension plans yet. When you have millions of retired employees, at that point, it's gonna impact Tesla's gross profit moving forward. So I think that's one of the things that you have to look at. Now, having said that, how's Ford or GM or Stellantis or Toyota or even Volkswagen, how are they going to mitigate those expenses going forward so that they don't impact the bottom line as much as they do? And that's a question I certainly don't have an answer to, but I think that's the big thing here that really is hurting Ford, not killing Ford, not putting them on their deathbed yet, but impacting them going forward.
Okay, Pops, getting your extended warranty from CarEdge, what do you need to know?
You're getting the same warranty you get at any dealer, just for a lot less.
CarEdge.com/warranty. For all the accountants that watch our videos, we to be clear, when Pops is hitting on pension and things like that, we're talking about the net income per vehicle sold. Obviously, on the gross side, it's their cost of goods sold and all that fun stuff. And I just want to be clear, they do make a little bit of money. Gross, they lose a significant amount of money. Net, however, Tesla makes a ton of money, nearly $16,000 gross and about $9,000 net. I'm just kind of shocked, Dad, that these automakers, we talk about a lot on this channel, we talk about dealers and the amount of money that dealers make. The real winners, okay, Tesla's $16,000, but Volkswagen's second on this list, and they make, on a gross basis, almost $8,000 per vehicle sold. That means when they sell the vehicle at invoice to the dealer, there's $8,000 in profit on average on that Volkswagen product. That's insane. That's truly insane.
The only reason these manufacturers went into business was, to make as much per car as they could. So is it insane? If you're buying in bulk, in the quantities that they're buying, with their negotiating power from their suppliers, Is it insane, or is it the reasonable expectation? And I, for one, think it's the reasonable expectation. Now, having said that, maybe perhaps to help spur sales, they could lower their MSRPs to encourage more people to get into their vehicles moving forward.
Talk about why I think it could be a bit of a death blow for Ford. We've got them increasing the price of their F-150 Lightning by 40% year over year for the base trim level, while you cannot get your hands on a Maverick without additional dealer markup right now. But Ford, please write some more memos. And at the same time, you've got Tesla, and I'll even lump VW and other prices are more attainable over there, and you don't have to deal with as much, at least with Tesla, as much of the stuff that we preach, like how to negotiate at the dealership and all that stuff. So I do think there are a lot of headwinds that Ford faces, while maybe some of these other automakers that have a little bit of tailwind, partly as a result of the fact that they just make so much money per vehicle sold, and they don't have to service all those other SG&A obligations.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. Ford finds themselves in a more tenuous position than many of the other manufacturers out there. There's no disputing that. And when it comes to their electric vehicle division, where they're admitting they're not making money, it's costing them money to build those cars and then to sell them to the dealer at, in essence, a loss to Ford. And they're willing to do that to build market share so that eventually they'll be able to right that ship, and they'll actually be able to sell those vehicles on a wholesale level to their dealer body and make money on them. I guess ultimately, eventually, that could happen. Exactly when, I have no idea. Obviously, the operating costs for the ICE division are a lot less than what they would be for the EV division.
Yeah, they're having to spend a lot of money to stand that up. And we saw interesting news recently, like GM, for example, is actually doubling down on V8 engines. They're putting almost $1 billion towards V8 engines. So I don't know, man. This whole EV push, these automakers who can't figure out quite how to make money on them, and then Tesla at the same time makes $16,000 gross per vehicle sold. Like, they might just look at that and be like, all right, you guys stick to that. We'll figure out how to make money off of our ICE vehicles. Either way, Dad, I think it's an interesting time. I love to be a fly on the wall at a board meeting at Ford Motor Company. I feel like there's a lot of interesting conversations happening over there right now.
I'm sure those conversations are not only interesting, but probably amusing when you parse the words.